Okay, let's go live for an impromptu live stream on a Tuesday night from my home. And an opportunity, an opportunity to muck around with my Logitech, my new Logitech software, which I will demonstrate when a few people come online, and also an opportunity to talk about a very a subject that I find very, very, very interesting, and something that I find very, very liberating. So let's see if a few people come online, and then once we've got a few people online, I'll just do a little bit of a muck around with my software here, so you can see. In fact, whilst I'm waiting for people to come online, I might just do a few little things like shifting like that, and then shifting around here like this. You know, isn't this fun? I can muck around, I can zoom in and out, I can change colors of borders and sizes of borders and all that. So Jerry, Krista, Adam, hey Adam, how are you? Venice, thank you for coming online. Tracy, thank you for coming online. Very nice for you guys to join me. And hi Venice, how are you? Let me just show you some of the crazy cool stuff I can do here. Hey Roz, how are you? So I'm on the main camera here, right? I can just go, look, let's pick a border. Let's pick a border color, right? You know, you can tell me what color you want, I can pick the border. Then you can actually dictate this to me. You can say, look, I want a really thick border. Okay, there's a thick border. Or, you know, like let's go back to my favorite, right? So you can go, okay, that's camera 1. Then you can go, let's whack on camera 2. Okay, here we go. I'm on camera 2 now. Let's, you know, I'm using this color, this purple border here. Let's go to a grayish border. Let's go up to whatever color that is sort of an aqua border. Ross says you're amazing, and I'm good, thank you. And Venice says you're very good. So let's just keep on this border here. And, you know, we can switch borders off. I can go, no, I don't need a border on here. Put a border back on. I can do a few other things while I'm here. I can zoom in. I can zoom out. You know, I can do all this sort of stuff. But then I can get a little bit trickier. I can go, okay, let's go back to this camera. I can decide to go picture in picture. So here we are on picture in picture, and I can move this picture around. So you're getting both pictures like ABBA. But then it doesn't stop there. So I can go, let's bring it back here, and I can go, look, let's increase this up. But let's do a flip here. Let's do this instead. Let's reverse it. So I've got the main picture back over here and move it around. I've got the different color border there. It's pretty cool, this software, I've got to say. Flip it back around here like this. Go back. I can go, I'm on the main one here. I can decide whilst I'm doing picture in picture, I'll just zoom in the main camera, I'll zoom out on the main camera, I can move it around, I tell you, it's pretty damn impressive actually, this software. It's really, I know I'm not getting to the subject, but I'm having so much fun with it. But wait, there's more. Hang on, let's see if I can, hopefully I won't lose it by clicking here. Let's see. Okay, I haven't lost it, good. Let's do filters. Let's bring up filters, what the hell. Let's go back to the main camera. Okay, main camera, red border, let's go filters. Yeah, let's bring in some, let's see what we've got here. So, okay, we've got some black and white happening there. We've got this crazy stuff happening here. We've got, look, just, you know, old film, I think that's meant to be. Oh, God, how scary is that? Oh, wow. All of this I can do, and let's switch filter back off. I can do all this through the computer on live stream, which is pretty damn impressive for free software that comes with the Logitech 4K cameras. I have about a ½ a second sound delay. Interesting. That is interesting. Maybe that's just the way I talk. Very cool software, Roz says. I was having problem with the audio before. It was crackling up when I've been filming a promo video for next Tuesday night's Vegan Hour tonight, and I was mucking around with this software, and I just started getting carried away, and I'm just like, what the hell? Let's just go and whack some picture in picture there, and it's I love it. It's good stuff. There's more stuff I can do if I hang on. Let me just go back here. I think there's one more. I mean, there are other things. Okay, I can do. Let's see. Do this one. Okay, so I've flipped the main picture. So let's put the main picture back. Let's go to 2 and flip 2. Okay, so I could do that. That's pretty cool. So how's that look over there? Right, so I flipped the secondary picture. So I can take the secondary picture, the picture in picture, flip it back. It's not bad, actually. This software is impressive. The scary one was funny. No delay on my end, perfectly in sync, Roz says. Great, excellent. There you go. It's just you, Jerry, that's got the delay. Might be just the way you're hearing. And there's actually other stuff there too. Let's just muck around with one other thing here. So I can do I've done this before. I can do a pretty full-on zoom in like that, and come back out again. And I can also then zoom in and then start doing some pan and some tilt and so forth. So really is quite impressive software. So anyway, now that I've just had a bit of a show off there on this software, which actually I could be using for the vegan hour. I could be setting up 2 different camera angles, but I haven't been using it for the vegan hour because I actually use both cameras, one for the live stream on the vegan hour and this one over here. It records for YouTube, and that one up there, this main one, this is the main one here, records for live stream for the vegan hour. So, okay, so I want to talk about a topic that is one of the most liberating and empowering things that I've embraced, or discoveries that I've embraced. Now, I've spoken about this subject several times before. I've done it on a bicycle live stream. I've also done it, I think, on a home live stream. But it is such an empowering, life-changing understanding of other people that I have personally found it exceptionally liberating, and just really, basically life-changing. Let's just bring a field of view in a bit there. I'm a little bit closer there. So there we go. Now, I've titled it that a person's behavior towards you is not actually about you. And this is something that it's taken me decades to understand. And I have spoken about it before, but if you haven't seen any of the other live streams, this is something that's always fresh, always good to learn. Venice says a slight delay my end too, but doesn't worry me. Okay. I don't know if that's because of the software that this is running through. I don't, or whatever. I wouldn't know. But so so let's get back to this. A person's behavior towards you is not actually about you. When you embrace this understanding, you actually free yourself from a lot of fear, and you're able to actually step back and observe people's behavior without judgment, but with a degree of compassion and empathy and understanding that previously probably eluded you. And it's very empowering, it's very liberating, and it leads to better communication and a way better understanding of where people are coming from, and a way better understanding of what we are and aren't responsible for in each other's lives. So basically, and I've shared this understanding, and the best way of saying it up is, the best way of saying it, I should say, is that what someone thinks of me is their self-projection. It's a reflection of them. It's about them, not about me. We see each other through our relative truth, through our filters. And so, in fact, I've got an Uma cat back here that I reckon if I do a zoom out, and if I go back to camera 1, no, you can't see her, can you? Where's she? Oh, there she is. She's on her cardboard, right down there. Have a look. There she is. I need an Uma cam. That's what I need. I need an Uma cam. I should take the secondary camera and point it down at her. I'm talking about you, beautiful. Oh, gosh. Okay, so we'll go there and we'll zoom back in here. Right. So what a person thinks of me is a projection or a reflection of them, and it is not about me. So what a person thinks about you is not about you at all. It's them projecting themselves outwards. And this is the understanding this, thinking about it, dwelling on it, understanding it is something that becomes very, very empowering, because you start to see that what the person is telling you is not about you. They're telling you about them. So when a person is, especially when a person's really emotional towards you, you know, when they're you know, angry, the anger is theirs. It's not you. You know, they'll blame you for their anger. I have to hang on to cameras here because I've got an Uma cat that's doing her best to wander around the back of the computer and hopefully not going to knock any cables. You sweet munchkin, you. You're a munchkin. So a person's, hang on a second, let me just check something here. Right. So a person is telling you, is always, when they're talking, when they're blaming you for something. This is something, if I want to, you know, personalize it and talk about me, and I could think about all the different situations over many years, over many decades, you know, where people have pointed fingers and said, oh, you're this and you're that, and you've done this and you've done that. And, you know, that sort of, you know, judgment or projection or pointing of fingers. It's amazing when you come to this understanding of what was really going on, and you're able to look at these events and reframe them and realize that the person was telling you about them, not about you. They may have been blaming you in their projection for what is going on in their life, and for maybe what they're not happy about in their life. They may have been blaming you for that, but it's not about you. And so when we start seeing other people this way, we actually take back our power automatically, and we actually take back a lot of our fear, because we take back this fear of, you know, I'm going to hurt you and all the rest. It's not possible for me to hurt you. It is totally impossible for me to hurt you. You can hurt yourself by the way you choose to react to what I'm doing, but I do not have the power to hurt you, nor do you have the power to hurt me. We don't have that power. It's impossible. You can choose to be completely at peace in a situation, or you can choose to react with hostility, anger, whatever, to the things that are happening around you. And this will vary completely from person to person, not dependent on the situation, but dependent on the person and where they're at, and how well they know themselves, and how much self-control they have. There's many different examples of this, and the example I've given multiple times before, and I love to give this example because I think it's something that really clearly sums it up. If you had a group of, say, 12 people, and you're bushwalking, and you're walking in some place where there's an animal like a bear or something, and it comes out of the bush and blocks a path ahead of you, in that 12 people that's there at that moment in time, there will be quite likely 12 different reactions to the same event. So ask yourself, what is different? It is the same event. It is a bear blocking our path. Why are 12 different people reacting 12 different ways? Because it's not dependent on the event. It's dependent on our reaction and our perception and our experience and all the different things that we've been through in our life. It's dependent on us, how we react. Bear blocks path. One person stays calm. One person has the ability to stay calm, understand, size up what's the situation, what's happening, and you know, maybe help other people to sort of stay calm as well. Second person panics, screams, actually startles the bear because they scream. They just go into a major panic mode. Third person just runs. You know, all these different reactions. It's the same event. The event is not different, but it is perceived different by each person. One person perceives the bear as a threat. The next person is in awe of the bear and says, I respect that this bear has a run of this place that we're walking through, and I will give it space. I respect that. So you see the difference? You see how important it is to understand, and this is being done in multiple studies. In fact, you can look on YouTube and multiple studies. And I brought, again, one of the best ones that comes to mind, and I've mentioned this one before. It's really fantastic. I can't remember exactly who did it, but it was a staged setup, but it was designed to show this in effect. It was, they asked a group of people to assemble in like a public sort of area, like a park sort of area, with a you know, like not a playground, just a concrete sort of area where people sort of go in a park or whatever. And I'm not describing it very well. I'm seeing it in my head, but I'm not describing it. So there's maybe a couple of dozen people there. They didn't tell them what was going to happen. They just told them to just assemble there and just sort of, you know, be aware that something might happen. What they staged was they staged a person running into the area, snatching an actor's handbag, and then running off with the handbag, and the actress, screaming and yelling and running off. After that, they then interviewed the people in the area, and they interviewed them to get information. What was the clothes that a description of the person that snatched the handbag? What was the clothes that they were wearing? You know, how tall were they? What skin color were they, etc. Description of the lady who had the handbag snatched, this sort of thing. So they interviewed it, they filmed it, and then after all that, they then showed the person the film of what actually happened and what clothes the person was wearing, you know, how tall they were, the skin color they were, etc. Now, some of these witnesses absolutely swore. They said, we will swear in a court of law that this person was wearing this color shirt, was wearing this color pants, was this tall, was this skin color, whatever. They were absolutely, adamantly convinced that their reality was the only one that was correct. Absolutely. You could not change their opinion until they showed them the film of what actually happened. And then it's amazing, without fail, every single time the person goes, well, I'm sure that person was wearing a red shirt, not a green one. Sure they were 6 foot tall, not, you know, 5 foot tall or something. So easily fooled. We're just so easily fooled because we have our relative perceptions. They're very limited and they are relative to us. They're not the truth. The truth is actually buried deep in our heart. So this ties back into understanding that what someone thinks of me is a projection or a reflection of them. Gay says, there is no sound. I haven't heard you now for about, and she says, now I can hear you. I agree with you at a certain point, as I've had a brutal life with every kind of abuse and no love, total abandonment. So I take a lot to my heart, and to deal with the pain, I numb out with food and sleep and have missed my life. But when people are criticizing us, maybe we are doing something that needs to be changed. Maybe. I grew up with miserable, unloving narcissists, and they don't listen to anyone's criticism and torture people like me. So it's a balancing act. Sometimes you need to change some of your behavior. Very important to remember what I said earlier. Nobody has the power to make us happy or to make us sad. We have the power to react to what is happening. We can become, when you said, you know, for instance, I picked up on the word you said, the gay, you said torturing. When people are Christian, maybe we're doing, yeah, can't find the word torture now. It's just like the bear in the forest. How do we react to the bear? The bear can scare the hell out of us, or we can be in awe of the bear, or we can have an empathy or a compassion or an understanding. If the bear has a sore foot, you know, and something in its foot, a thorn in its foot, or whatever it is that they get, we would have a lot of understanding that it's in pain. So what we need to be able to do is to understand when people are in pain. And usually a pretty clear sign that somebody is in pain is when they're yelling at you. That's a pretty clear sign. It's not about you. It's about a projection of their pain. It may not be a pleasant situation to be in. It may be a horrendous situation to be in. And I say this as being somebody that was in a domestic violent relationship for 4 years, about 25 years ago, in my 20s. So I know what it's like to be in a situation where it's very, very, very hard to maintain self-control. But I also know what it's like to look at someone and to see that what they're throwing at you is theirs. It's theirs, it's not yours. They are throwing their pain at you. When you see this, you are liberated from feeling a guilt or a responsibility for the pain that they're going through. So you see, so let me just read something. Gay says, examples of people who don't listen to criticism and don't stop their behaviour, pedophiles and animal abusers. Yes, and this is something that I brought up many times before. Love the sinner, not the sin. I don't condone misbehaviour, violence, immoral behaviour, illegal behaviour, any behaviour that is basically what we'd call wrong, to put a label on it. I don't condone that. What I'm asking you to look at, and I've said this before multiple times, is look at why the person is doing that behavior. Look at the hurt that the person is carrying, look at how lost they are, and that is why that behavior is coming out of them. We're not condoning it. We're actually making progress if we understand the pain they're in and we're having an empathy for them. So Annette says, yep, and Venice says, the worse someone is to you, the more pain they're in. Exactly, Venice. The worst thing we can do is do what the movies and media tells us to do, which is, you know, somebody has a go at you and you have a go back at them. You know, it just sets up a battle that ends up with world wars, basically. You know, it's the worst thing we can do. The most courageous thing we can do is to actually see what the other person is projecting, and to be at peace in ourselves. And we can be at peace in ourselves when we realize it's a projection of theirs. It's not about us. So your perception of me is a reflection of you. So someone's perception of you is a reflection of them. It is their projection, and you are not responsible for it. When you understand that, you are liberated from their opinion and you are not captive to their opinion. It's always about how they feel, not about how you feel. And I've you know, personal examples again. I've been through some, let's do a camera switch. Let's go here. I've been through some pretty difficult situations in the past. I've been through situations where people have, you know, and a lot of us have this, where people have literally been in my face at this point, threatening, yelling, screaming. And I'm not just talking about what I went through domestically with my relationship, but I'm talking about in many different situations. I won't say many, in a few different situations. And strangely enough, I don't know why it is, but usually the worse somebody is towards me, the calmer I remain. It's one of those strange abilities I seem to have. I don't know how that comes about, but it's just there, you know. So, and I can look back on the pain that these people were projecting. I mean, we're talking sometimes, you know, without mentioning names and situations, identifying situations, people literally right in my face, pointing and saying, you are, and just swearing their head off and saying, you know, you've done it, and the whole thing. And then realizing later that they are carrying so much anger. They are carrying the anger. And how do I realize this? Because I saw them doing the same behavior with other people. And I started to think, well, what's the common denominator here? The common denominator wasn't me, because they were doing it with other people. The common denominator was them. So this is part of the learning of the lesson, part of the wisdom coming through. So someone's anger towards us is their pain projected. So we choose whether we want to own something that is not ours. We choose whether we want to own their pain or not. Gay says, I grew up in California where many are narcissists and don't change their behavior. Yes, I can understand and agree with that. I can't be around people who don't listen to criticism. Not that they should change themselves, but most people will not hear. Gay, the power is always in changing ourselves. We can't change other people. So any power that we project towards trying to change other people is a waste of our energy, our effort, our spirit. It's a waste of spirit trying to change other people. We can example how to live a good life, but we cannot change them. They have to want to change themselves. The change has to want to come from within. So where the wise person understands this and works on changing themselves, that's where the power is. When you change yourself, you change the energy that you are radiating, you change the energy of the people that you attract, and you change your ability to cope with the people that you find difficult to cope with. So that's where your power is. You work on changing yourself. So someone's anger towards us is their pain projected. It's about them, not us. They are hurt and they need understanding, not judgment. So if we lived in a world where we could all do that, where we all had that ability to understand people, let's go. Don't move that up there just because I can, or move it over there, or resize it or whatever. I'm loving playing with this. If we lived in a world where we all could see that in other people, we'd be living in a world of peace. We'd be understanding that, you know, we're seeing other people's projections. So remember that no one can drive your car unless you give them the keys. So this is whether you're giving your power away or whether you're understanding that you hang on to that power and you see with a wisdom and a depth of what other people are doing. This is I've said this before, and I make no apologies for doing this sort of themed live stream again, because this will possibly be the most important lesson, or one of the most important lessons you will ever live in your life, in order to be at peace in yourself and in order to have amazing connections with other people, amazing relationships and amazing understanding of other people, and in order to not try and change other people and not try and own other people. You will be liberated, you will be at peace in yourself. So once you understand that you are seeing things a certain way and other people are seeing things a certain way, it is their relative truth, it is about them, it is not about you, and what they say about you is actually telling you about them. It's not telling you much about you at all, because they're only seeing you through themselves, through their filters. So they are seeing a version of themselves in you. That's how it works. So they're not telling you much about yourself at all. And the more you hang around people and listen to what they're saying, the more you see that that's exactly what they're doing. It's really super empowering. So no one can drive your car unless you give them the keys. So you choose. You have free will. Is about you choosing whether you're going to give away your power to someone or whether you're going to hang on to it and use it in a really wise, empowering way. And I've mentioned this earlier, you can't control others' actions, but you can control your reaction. So that's our free will. And I mentioned this on a live stream recently too, that it comes from the way our free will is in the way we react to things. So we may not be able to control things, but our power, our free will is in the way we react to things. Gay says you can't wear a shield all the time. Well, of course you can't wear a shield. You shouldn't wear a shield any of the time. I think of Jesus, who was totally vulnerable. Yes. I like people who are open. I learn so much from them. They are beautiful. You don't grow if you shut people out. Exactly. Exactly. Well said, Gay. Very, very good. Exactly. That's the only way you can grow. You actually grow by observing. This is how I grew, by observing these patterns in other people. And for years thinking that I was why somebody was getting angry, or I was why somebody was upset or something, until I noticed, and this is a benefit of hindsight and getting older in the body, until I noticed the same person that I might have known for year after year after year, repeating a pattern with other people that weren't me. And then I'm starting to think, okay, so when you were pointing the finger at me and blaming me for this, and then a year later you're blaming somebody else for the same thing that's happened to you, and then a year later you're blaming somebody else, what's the common denominator? Yeah, it really, it's like mind-blowing when you start to see it, and so it really, you really got to look for it, and you'll see it really clearly. I did this live stream only a few weeks ago, and I talked about this, but it's so powerful, and I just wanted to I wanted an excuse to muck around, with my software tonight and just move things around like this, Why don't I change some? Oh God, why am I? Look, let's go to orange. Let's go to orange now, or let's go to blue. What color do you like? Blue's nice, yeah. And then let's just click on the second one and let's change the border a bit. What's the border of it at the moment? Let's change the border a bit to red. What the hell? Okay, there we go. And then let's shift this one around. All right, let's do that. It's just, man, this is good software. I'm loving this. So before I wind up, what else have we got here? The other thing that's really important too is that So we choose, and it ties in exactly with what I'm saying, we choose how others treat us by the behavior we will and won't tolerate. So this comes back to, you know, our free will, what we do and don't accept, how we understand our self-worth, you know. And so again, we have a level where we say, no, that's not acceptable. I do not accept that behavior from you. And so that is, you know, like setting boundaries, and that is what we will and won't tolerate. And I've got a beautiful boomer cat just sitting, oh my God, she's in such an awkward position. So respect yourself enough to demand better behavior. So that's what it comes down to. And so I'm going to start winding this up. Blue, Venice likes the blue. What about a nice, hang on, what have we got in the blues here? We've got a darker blue there. What color is that? Yeah, that's like a navy blue, really, isn't it? And that's probably my favorite blue there. I don't like a washed out blue, but that one's sort of interesting. It was like a teal or sort of color, I guess. It's anyway. So there you go. So tonight's live stream was a combination of mucking around with my new Logitech software that I installed actually a couple of weeks ago, but haven't really done a live stream with it. And also a chance to talk about a very, very, very liberating, empowering lesson that for me personally is you know, quite possibly the most liberating, empowering lesson that I've had, and I hope that you're able to get something from it and able to apply it in your life, and able to just observe other people and observe them over time, see the patterns in them, and realize the patterns are theirs, they're not yours. So when they start blaming you for things, when they start accusing you for things, when they start throwing things at you, the things they're throwing at you are theirs. And they're throwing them at you today. Tomorrow they might be throwing them at someone else, but it's theirs. And if they're throwing something, it means they're in pain, they're hurting. And rather than judging them, we should be looking, empathizing with them and helping to lift them up, helping them to find the peace inside themselves and the love and respect that we all wish for. So thanks for watching this live stream. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed mucking around with this software. So live vegan and save lives. So next Tuesday night is the next vegan hour. And as I said earlier, I've done the promo video for it tonight. So stay tuned for that. I'll be sharing that online on Thursday night. So you'll find out who my guest is then. So until then, yeah, live vegan and save lives. Good night, everyone. And ahimsa.